Hello everyone, welcome to Percona live online conference. I am Sri. This is my first time I am talking at Percona live conference. Thank you to the Percona team for choosing my talk. Today I am going to speak about overview of MySQL Server plugins and what is new in MySQL 8. Here, new things means I mostly covered the things related to the MySQL Server plugins in MySQL 8. This is about me. My full name is Sri Sakthivel. Currently, I am working at Percona as a MySQL database administrator. I am an active blogger. Actually, I love to write the blogs. Currently, I am living in Tamil Nadu. That's my native place. Yes, I love to explore the new things. You can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn with the following details. Okay, so this is the agenda of the talk today. First one is the introduction. Here I give the short introduction about the plugin and what is the role of the plugin in MySQL. And the next one is overview of MySQL Server plugins. Here I covered the things related to the plugin directory and plugin installation and installation and the different types of plugin activation states. And yeah, the next topic is different types of plugins. Here I covered the different types of plugins available in MySQL. And the next topic is what is new in MySQL 8. So here I consolidated the things related to the plugins, MySQL Server plugins in MySQL 8. What are the new things we have in MySQL 8? And yes, finally, I have the interesting case study. Here I explain the problem which we faced with one of the customer and how we solved that problem using the feature from MySQL 8. It is actually we solved that using the feature from the plugin, Regulator plugin. That is I explained in this case study. Uh, so introduction. Okay, so what is plugin? Plugin is a software component. We are going to plug in the existing software, and yes, it provide the new or extend the functionality, and it will give some features. It has some features, and definitely it will easy your job. And plugins in MySQL. MySQL supports the plugin API. You can write the plugins using C and C++ languages. From MySQL 8.0.13, it supports the header files only supports the C++ language. So from MySQL 8.0.13, you can write the plugins using only C++ language, and you can install and uninstall the plugins on the runtime in MySQL. And every plugins have their dedicated variables. So if you are installing the plugin into the MySQL, you may have the additional configuration parameters related to the plugins. Okay, then the overview of MySQL Server plugins. The first one is the plugin directory. For MySQL, you have the variable plugin hyphen dir. So it defines the plugin directory. The default plugin directory is base directory slash sleep slash MySQL slash plugin. Under the plugin directory, you can find all the available plugins. And yes, you can change the plugin directory, but it needs the MySQL restart. You cannot do that without the restart. So to change the plugin directory, you need to make the entry in your configuration file, and you need to restart the MySQL. Yeah, the next one is the plugin installation. You can install the plugin in different ways. Here you can see that you have the command line install plugin, and you have the table MySQL.plugin, and you have the options variables plugin load, plugin loaded, and early plugin load, and also you have the plugin utility MySQL-plugin. So the first one is the install plugin. This is the command line you need to execute in the MySQL client. So what happens if you go execute this command? It will create the entry in the MySQL.plugin table with the plugin name and the plugin library name. So for that, it needs the insert privilege on the MySQL.plugin table. So once you install the plugin will be automatically loaded in the runtime. Yeah, the next one is the MySQL.plugin table. Using this table also you can install the plugins, but it needs the MySQL restart. So you need to manually make the entry on that MySQL on the MySQL.plugin table. What are the plugins you need? You need to manually make the insert on the MySQL.plugin table. So once you created the entry in the table, you need to restart the MySQL. So during the restart, it will read the MySQL.plugin table and it will MySQL it will load all the plugins which has the entry in the MySQL.plugin table. And yes, you have the options plugin load and plugin load add. So this will load the plugins on the startup, but here the plugins will be loaded after the storage engine and the built-in plugin initializations. Okay, the plugin load add option should be placed after the plugin load option. Here I given the two approaches, correct and wrong approaches. Let's consider I want to install two plugins, validate password and the group application plugin. So the correct approach is first I need to given the plugin load option with the valid password, and next I provided the plugin load add option with the group application. So this will work. And also you can mention the both the plugins inside the plugin load option with the semicolon delimited. The this approach will also work. But if you provide the plugin load option two times with the different plugins, then it will not work actually. It will ignore the first option. I mean, it will ignore the validate password plugin and it will only load the group application plugin. And as I told, you cannot also use the plugin load add option before the plugin load option. It should be placed after the plugin load option. So that is one of the wrong approach. Yeah. The next one is the early plugin load. This is similar like the plugin load, but the difference is from the plugin load, the plugin will be loaded after the storage engine and the built-in plugin initialization, right? But if you mention the plugin in the early plugin load option, those plugins will be loaded before the storage engine and the built-in plugin initialization. So, in some cases, like the encryption plugin, keyring file plugin needs to be loaded before the storage engine initialization. So in this case, you can use this option, early plugin load option, so that your encryption plugin will be keyring file plugin will be loaded before the storage engine and the built-in plugin initialization. And you have the utility MySQL hyphen plugin utility to install the plugin. It is removed at the MySQL 8, but still, if you are using the lower versions like MySQL 5.7 and MySQL 5.6, then definitely you can use the utility to install the plugins. And yeah, the next topic is plugin activation states. Totally, you have the four plugin activation states. You need to define the activation state using the plugin name. Uh, the first one is off. So the here the plugin name is group replication. So I provided group replication equal to off. So this state will disable the plugin. So you can see that after the MySQL restart, you can see the plugin state is disabled. The next one is on. It will enable the plugin, and also the difference is it will allow the MySQL start if the plugin initialization is fails. Okay. It will never mind about the plugin initialization. And the next option, force, it will also enable the plugin, but it will not allow the MySQL service to start if the plugin initialization is fails. Okay. That is the difference between the on and force. And the final one is the force plus permanent. It has the same behavior like force. It will enable the plugin and it will not allow the MySQL service to start if the plugin initialization fails. Additionally, it will also not allow to uninstall the plugin on the runtime. Okay, the next one is the uninstall plugin. To uninstall the plugin, you have the command line, uninstall plugin, and plugin name. It needs the delete privilege because during the uninstallation, it needs to remove the entry from the MySQL.plugin table. So for that, it needs the delete privilege. So once you execute the uninstall plugin, it will automatically unload the plugin. Okay. And the uninstallation will be fails on this both scenarios. If the plugin is the built-in plugin, then the uninstallation is not possible. Our uninstall command will be fail with the error. Built-in plugins cannot be deleted. And if you are using the plugin state, plugin activation state equal to force plus permanent, in this case also, it will not allow to uninstall the plugin. Your command will be fail with the error. Okay, the next one is how to obtain the plugin informations. You have different source to obtain the plugin informations. The first one is the command line show plugins command. You need to execute in the MySQL client. It will give the informations about the plugin name and the current plugin state and the plugin library. It will give the different details. And also you have the dedicated table, plugins table under the information schema. It will also provide the similar details like show plugins. You will get to know about the plugin name and the plugin current state, plugin library, plugin version. You can get know about those details. And you have the table, MySQL.plugin table. This will contain the plugin name and the library name. Those plugins are installed using the command install plugin. Other plugins details you cannot get from this table. And you have the MySQL.user table. Here I have the column plugin, which will give the authentication plugin for the respective users. Okay, the next topic is different types of plugins. Um, Mainly here, I would like to classify the plugins in two types, built-in plugins and the non-built-in plugins. So the built-in plugins are the static one. They are compiled with the server and you cannot uninstall the built-in plugins. It will fail, the command will be fail. And how to identify the built-in plugins, right? Uh, in the plugin information schema plugin table, you have the column plugin underscore library. So those plugins have the null value on this column are the built-in plugins. So you can use this query. I provided a query. You can use this query to identify the built-in plugins. And also, yes, as I told, you cannot uninstall the built-in plugins. It will fail. The command will be fail with the error. And non-built-in plugins, here it is those are the dynamic plugins. You can manually install using the command install plugin command, and you can load the plugins using plugin load, plugin loaded, yearly plugin load, and MySQL dot plugin table, and you can also install using the MySQL underscore plugin utility. Okay, and uninstall is possible on the runtime until the plugin state is force plus permanent. Otherwise, you can uninstall the plugin on the runtime, and you can identify the plugins, non-built-in plugins using the below query. The here the plugin library column is not null, so it will have the library name, actual library name. So you can identify the non-built-in plugins using the below query. Yeah, so these are the types of plugins. You have the plugins in different chapters like engines, authentication, auditing, and query rewriting, information schema tables. There are many plugins. Okay, so the next topic is what is new in MySQL 8 related to MySQL Server plugins. Mm, yeah. The first one is the MySQL underscore plugin utility is removed from the MySQL 8.0.0 version. Um, and from MySQL 8.0.1, the plugin includes the component-based infrastructure. Um, See, it means if you go to the plugin directory, you can find the files starting with the component. Okay, so to install those components, you have the command install component command, and you have also the dedicated table mysql.component to know the details about the installed components. And if you want to uninstall the component, you can use the command uninstall component command. Yeah. Catching SHA-2 password authentication plugin is available in the MySQL 8.0.3. Later, it was made as a default one, a default authentication plugin. Yeah. From MySQL 8.0.4, validate password plugin is re-implemented to use the component infrastructure. Before MySQL 8.0.4, it was the plugin, and from MySQL 8.0.4, the validate password plugin have the plugin and component both the infrastructure. You can use both. But after that, it was removed. It is deprecated in 8, MySQL 8.0.4. So after the MySQL 8.0.4, you can only use the valid password as a component. And for the debug builds, the default plugin directory is changed from user lib64 MySQL plugin to slash debug. It is changed from MySQL 8.0.4. This is applicable for the RPM builds for Red Hat Linux, Slice, and Fedora RPMs. From MySQL 8.0.4, the default authentication plugin is changed to catching SHA-2 password plugin. Before it was the MySQL native password. Compared than the MySQL native password, catching SHA-2 password plugin provide more encryption features. So it was made as a default one from MySQL 8.0.4. From MySQL 8.0.12, Regulator plugin is included the supports for insert, replace, update, and delete. Before it has the support only for the selects. You can rewrite only the selects before MySQL 8.0.12. But from MySQL 8.0.12, it has the support for the inserts and update and deletes as well. Yeah. From MySQL 8.0.13, the MySQL header file used by plugins now contains only the C++ code. Before the MySQL 8.0.13, it has the C and C++ code, but from MySQL 8.0.13, it only had the support of C++ code. So from MySQL 8.0.13, you can write the plugins only using the C++ language. And MySQL 8.0.13, MySQL Enterprise Edition provides for the data masking. And from MySQL 8.0.16, the DDL rewriter plugin is introduced. So you cannot rewrite all the DDLs, but currently it has the support to create table statements. From MySQL 8.0.16, the SHA-256 password plugin is deprecated. And from MySQL 8.0.17, the MySQL clone plugin is introduced. And also from MySQL 8.0.22, the Keyring OCA plugin is include the support for the from MySQL Enterprise editions. Okay, so we came to the last topic. It is a case study. Yeah. So actually, this is the here I describe the problem and the solution. This was we faced to one of the customer, and we solved that problem using the new feature from the plugin, Query Rewriter plugin. So I was thought to include this case study in this slide. Let me explain the situation. 'Cause they are using the MySQL 8.0.17 version. They had the table transaction table. In the table, we have the column name. Name is having the secondary index. The column is indexed, and from the application end, they mistakenly deployed the update with the lower function for the name column. Okay, so the update query is not using the proper index. Even the column have the index, but because of the lower function, the update is not using the proper index. Mostly, it is doing the full table scan, and the queries are taking long time, and it examines a lot of rows, so it actually impacting the performance very worst the time. So this is the example table structure. You can see the name column have the index idx underscore name. The name column have the index. The table is something huge. It has around 70 lakhs records. Okay, this is the example update. They are updating the transactions table, and they are modifying the account number based on the name column. Here you can see the name is with the lower of function, right? So what they are doing, they are converting the name column to the lowercase, and they are comparing with the strings. Okay, if you see the explain plan, the query is not using the proper index, and it is doing almost full table scan. You can see the query is scanning the entire row in the table. And yeah, this is the query execution time. See, the query is taking around 8.44 seconds. Okay. See, if you see the if you see the column details, name column details, you can see the character set is UTF-8 MB4, and the collation is UTF-8 MB4. This goes CA. SCA is the case insensitive. So usually here we don't need the lower function to compare the things in the update query, but they mistakenly deployed. So we need to remove that to fix this query. The challenge is code change is not possible at the time because they are already in the live. It is a hard period for them. We need to fix this query without changing the code. So the solution, we need to remove the lower function. Here you can see if we remove the lower function, the query is scanning the only one row, and it is using the proper index now. It is using the IDS underscore name, secondary index, and it is scanning only one row. So what we did, we implemented the query relator plugin. They are using the MySQL version 8.0.17 actually. From the MySQL 8.0.12, the query relator plugin has the support to updates and deletes as well, right? Inserts as well. So what we did, we plan to implement the query relator plugin in their environment, and we added the rules in the rules table. We have the rules table rewrite underscore rules table. There we created the rules without using the lower function. Okay. So once we created the updated the rules in the table, then we flush the rules. After that, if you see, the update is using the update with the lower function. It is using only one row, and it is the query is very fast now. It is taking 0.00 seconds. Uh, you can see the warnings one. So if you give the show warnings, you can see the message. The query is converted from lower to without lower function based on our rules configuration. Okay, so this is the way we was able to fix this problem for the customer. We have some additional third-party tools like the proxy SQL support the query rating, but we don't have any additional tools configured for that customer. So we are very happy that we were able to fix this from the MySQL itself, and the customer also very happy with that. Okay, thank you to everyone who attend this session. I am moving to Slack. If you have any questions related to my session, you can ask me in the Slack. And also, if you want to reach me personally, you can reach me in Twitter or LinkedIn, wherever. Thank you very much.